Hi guys, my name is Morgan. Most of you all may know me as the Southern Yogi on Instagram, and I'm here at the new Aloe store in the Grove. I'm super excited to be here with you all, and today we're going to be filming a 30-minute flow that's kind of like your after work vibes. Maybe you stood on your feet all day, maybe you were at a desk. So I want you guys to take some time for yourselves and really work on the muscles that maybe got stiff through your 8 or 9 hour day. So we're going to tap into our shoulders, our feet, our wrists, and really just slow down a little bit. I'm super excited to meet you guys on the mat today, and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can catch all the other videos that we have for you all. So we're gonna go ahead and start in a comfortable seat, whether that's in a cross-legged position or on your knees. Just go ahead and get into whatever position is comfortable for you, and then go ahead and start grounding down into your sit bones. So I really want you to start to feel the earth below you, rooting down into your mat, and then growing really tall out of the crown of the head. Let's just go ahead and close the eyes for a moment, and we're gonna bring one hand to our heart and one hand to our belly, dropping the shoulders down and away from the ears. Just start to tune into your breath. So on an inhale, filling up the belly and the lungs, and then exhaling out through the mouth. Inhale, exhale. So big cleansing breaths out through the mouth. Let's do that a few more times. Maybe exhaling any stress or anything that you picked up throughout your day and just kind of letting go of it, releasing it. Inhale, slowly start to open your eyes. Let's bring the right fingertips down onto the ground. Left fingertips or palm you can just set on your left knee. And we're gonna start to drop the left ear down to the left shoulder. So slowly opening up through the right side of the neck. Should feel a nice big stretch. Make sure that you're grounding down through both sit bones evenly, so kind of check in. Make sure you didn't lean to the left. Big inhales and exhales. On an inhale, slowly return the neck back up to neutral. Roll out the shoulders, whichever way comes naturally first. So whether that's backwards or forwards, roll them out for a moment. And then we're gonna bring that right hand, the one that we just used, behind us over to the left side, clasp the left fingertips, and then same thing, drop the left ear to the left shoulder. Check in with your breathing. Super easy to start to hold our breaths when things get really tight or intense. So make sure you send the breath directly into those areas of tightness or discomfort. Inhale the neck back up. Unclasp the hands, roll the shoulders the other direction. So that's forward for me this time because I just rolled them backwards. And then wiggle everything out. This time we're gonna bring the right palm to the right knee, tent or place the left palm on the ground. Start to slowly drop the right shoulder to the right ear. Should feel a lot of opening through the left side of the neck. Check in with that breathing. Might notice that maybe one side is a little bit more open or closed off than the other, and that's completely normal. Slowly inhale the neck back up to center, roll it out for a moment, release those shoulders. And then this time we're gonna bring that left hand behind the back, clasp with the right fingertips, and then drop that right ear over to the right shoulder, grounding down through both sit bones. So just gently starting to wake up the body, moving nice and slowly, not rushing into anything. Inhale, release. Bring the neck back to center, roll it out, other direction, last time. Good, and then place the palms on the knees, and then we'll just start to do neck rolls, so whatever way comes naturally. So dropping the chin to the chest, bringing one ear to one shoulder, around the back, other ear to other shoulder. So just kind of hitting all 4 points. Coming back to neutral, and then other direction. Bring the neck back up to neutral. Tent those right fingertips down on the ground. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale. Big stretch through the left side body. Make sure you're grounding down through the left sit bone, so we don't want that left hip to pop up off the ground. If that happened, just make sure you root back down through it. Every inhale, see if you can find a little bit more length. Every exhale, a little bit more space. Maybe you go a little bit deeper. You can always come down onto the forearm if that's available to you. If not, you can stay tented on the fingertips. Inhale back up through center. Exhale, left fingertips or forearm down to the ground. Right hand sweeps up and over, big stretch through the right side body. Again, grounding down through that right sit bone. Inhale, finding that length. Exhale, making more space to go a little bit deeper. Inhale back up to center. Good, and we're gonna warm up the spine now just a little bit. So we're gonna exhale, rounding the upper back, almost like a cat motion, and then inhale, opening up the arms. Exhale, rounding through the upper back. Inhale, opening up through the chest, the front of the shoulders, and maybe reverse the breathing. So maybe you inhale, round the back, exhale, open up the arms. Whatever feels best for you. Just slowly starting to warm up the spine, warm up the core, open up the front of the body. A few more times. Good. Come back to a seated position. Let's place the hands onto the mat, step the knees back into tabletop. We're gonna spend a few minutes here on the wrist, so just gently loosening up the wrist. Maybe you were at a computer all day. They can get really tight, so we wanna take care of them. So we're gonna move the fingertips out facing the side of the mat and gently just start to rock side to side. If you don't feel anything here, you can always intensify it by walking the heels of the hands in towards each other. It's just gonna intensify and deepen that stretch just a little bit. And then start to make small circles. So again, whatever way comes naturally first. Good, start to move in the other direction. And then come back to center. Flip the hands around as much as you're able to. So ideally, we're looking to face the fingertips towards the knees. If this isn't available, that's totally fine. Just flip the fingertips as much as you're able to. And we're slowly gonna start to rock the bum back towards the heels without the heel of the hand lifting up off the mat. So ideally, we want the whole palm to stay planted on the mat, rocking back and forward. So just opening up the wrist here, you should feel it a little bit in the forearms. Make sure you're breathing. Gets really easy to start to hold your breath through some of these. So maybe inhaling up, exhaling back. One more time. Come back into that tabletop position. We're gonna bring our hands into prayer now. Bring the back of the left hand onto the mat, and then just create a little bit of compression with the heel of that right hand. So just finding some space in that left wrist joint. Few breaths, and then switching it out. So keeping the hands in prayer, coming onto the back of the right hand, adding that compression with the heel of the left hand. Good, and then slowly making our way back into tabletop, warming up the spine just a little bit more. So we're gonna work our way through some cat-cows. On an inhale, dropping the belly, bringing the chest and the heart through, lifting the head, coming into cow. And then exhale, rounding through the spine, pushing the ground away from you, coming into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. So go through this 2 or 3 more times at your own pace, using your breath, letting it guide you through the movements. And then we'll all meet back in tabletop, neutral spine. Gonna inhale the right hand up. Exhale, thread the needle, so bringing that right hand under the left arm until that right shoulder reaches the ground. So you can use the left hand here to push the ground away from you and bring this more into a twist, or you can crawl the left fingertips out and kind of sink down into the stretch. So it's up to you, whatever your body's feeling today. On an inhale, start to bring that left hand back to the mat, ground down through it, push yourself back up into tabletop. Inhale the left hand up this time. Exhale, sweeps underneath that right arm until the left shoulder reaches the ground. Again, you have that option to keep the right hand here, bringing this more into a twist, or you can crawl the right fingertips out and really sink down into the left shoulder. Check in with your breathing. On an inhale, ground down through that right palm, press yourself back up into tabletop, and then we're gonna go ahead and rock back onto the heels. So I like to tuck my toes and then send my bum back towards my heels. We're gonna stretch out the feet. This can get really intense really fast. So if you guys can already feel it just from sitting here, I want you to take a few steps back and maybe just start with your palms on the ground. So we have the toes tucked, the palms are on the ground, and then ideally we want to start to work our way up into a seat until we're sitting all the way back on our heels and really, really opening up through the soles of the feet. So you can kind of turn this into a mini meditation. You can close your eyes here if you want. Maybe you find something to focus your gaze on. We're going to be here for about a minute. So lots of times we don't really pay attention to the feet, but we're on them all day. So it's really easy to kind of forget about stretching them out, but they need some care and love too. So check in with that breathing. Maybe you focus on sending your breath straight into those areas of tightness. So every time I exhale, I'm sending my breath right into the back of my feet. If at any time this becomes too much for you, you can always work your way out of it and then gently work your way back into it. But I challenge you guys as we go through the rest of this flow to kind of find your edge. So we all have an edge in yoga, and there's a difference between pain and discomfort. So a lot of this can be uncomfortable, but you can find your edge where you can sit and kind of work through that burn and that discomfort. Few more breaths, guys. You all got it. Good. On an inhale, slowly rock forward, bringing the hands back down to the mat. Untuck the toes. And then we're just going to sit back on our heels, neutralize this pose for just a moment, so kind of letting the feet relax. And then bring the hands behind the hips, and we're going to rock back onto the toes, so counteracting what we just did, kind of stretching through the tops of the feet now. And slowly rock forward. Place the hands in front of you, tuck the toes, and we'll press back into our first downward dog of the day. Maybe it's your first, maybe not. But just check in with your body anyways. Make sure that you're doing a scan through the back of the legs, seeing how the hamstrings are feeling. Ideally, we'd like to work the heels down towards the mat, press up and out of the shoulders, lift the hips high. Everything is nice and strong and engaged. Gonna start to tap into the legs just a little bit here. So on an inhale, lifting that right foot up to the sky, sending that left heel down towards the mat. On an exhale, bend the right knee, start to drop that right hip over top of the left, so stacking them. And maybe peek under the left armpit, maybe you can spot your right toes, maybe not. Make sure you're driving down through that right shoulder, so always trying to square the shoulders down towards the mat. And then inhale, straighten out through that right leg. Exhale, bring it all the way through, in between the hands, dropping the back knee, coming into our low lunge. So we'll just check in here for a moment, make sure that front knee is stacked directly over top of the ankle. So we're always trying to square the hips, so as much as we can, drawing that right hip back, left hip forward. And then from here, you can either keep the fingertips on the ground. If they're staying on the ground, make sure you're not resting your chest on your thighs, so we're staying really active and lifted throughout the chest. Or sometimes I like to bring my hands just above my knee and kind of sink down into the hips a little bit. So big breaths, check in with your breathing again if you started to hold it. They always say the hips are the junk drawers of our body, so I feel like whenever I start to move into my hips, I find it really easy to hold my breath because I'm really tense there. I hold a lot of tightness there. So I start to hold my breath when things get hard. So don't do that. Make sure you're breathing. Start to bring the fingertips back down. We're going to move in and out of runner's stretch. So on an exhale, rocking back onto that right heel, straightening out the right leg, keeping the spine really long here though, so we don't want to round through the upper back. Keep everything nice and long so you're finding and creating that space. And then inhale, back into low lunge. Exhale, runner's stretch. And maybe you find movement here, so maybe you want to move in and out of these two poses. Or maybe you feel like your body needs to hold one or the other. So that's fine. If you want to stay in runner's stretch, maybe you want to stay in that low lunge, or you can find movement between the two. Again, this is your practice, your body, so whatever feels good for you all. Just take a few more breaths here wherever you're at. And inhaling back into that low lunge, we'll ground down through the palms, tuck the back toes, and then step that right foot back, downward facing dog. Maybe walk your dog out for a moment, kind of feel the difference between the right and the left leg. Do a body scan. And on an inhale, we'll start to send that left leg up, really driving down through that right heel and the left shoulder, making sure that we keep it square to the mat. On an exhale, start to bend the left knee, stacking the left hip over top of the right. Take a peek under that right arm. Maybe you see your left toes, maybe you don't. Inhale, straightening back out through that left leg. Exhale, bringing it all the way through until the left foot comes in between the hands. Again, finding our low lunge on the left side. So dropping that back knee, checking in, seeing that our front knee is stacked over top of the ankle. Our chest is nice and lifted. We're staying active. And again, the hands can either stay on the ground or you can bring them up for a moment, sinking down into the hips. So this time we're drawing the left hip back, right hip forward, always trying to square those hips to the top of the mat. Working that right thigh down towards the ground. Check in with your breathing here. Big inhales and exhales. Start to float the fingertips down to the ground. Exhaling back into that runner stretch, so slowly straightening out through the left leg. Make sure you're staying active through the toes, so don't let the foot just hang out. Activate those toes, pull them back towards you. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, runner stretch. Again, you have that option to maybe hold these poses a little longer than I'm doing, or move in and out of it, whatever you feel like your body needs. Maybe this side needs something different than the other side. So do that body scan again, see where you're at. A few more breaths. And on an inhale, work your way back into that low lunge. Ground down through the palms, tuck the back foot, step back, downward facing dog. On an inhale, drop the knees wide, bring the big toes to touch, send the hips back into child's pose. And we're gonna crawl the hands over to the right, and maybe reach those left fingertips a little bit further than the right. So big stretch through the left side body. And inhale, work your way back through center. Exhale, other side. So reaching the right fingertips just a little bit further than the left. Letting the hips go heavy down towards your heels. Big stretch through the right side body. And inhale, back to center. Ground down through the palms, tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. On an inhale, look in between the hands, take a few steps to the middle of the mat, and then start to sit the bum down, and we'll work our way onto our backs. So however you want to get there, nice and easy. We're going to start to stretch out the legs just a little bit more. So left leg's going to extend out, right leg will come up. And this is a great time if you have a strap and you want to take one, use it. Props are awesome. If you don't, you can bring the hands just to the back of the thighs to start, or maybe the calf, or maybe you have the mobility and flexibility right now to bring the fingers to the big toes, and that's fine too. So wherever you're at in your practice, you can bring the left hand out into a T if you want, or you can keep it by your side. Every inhale, just try and create that space and length through the back of the leg. Every exhale, see if you can maybe pull that foot just a little bit closer. A few more breaths here. Start to slowly bend through that left knee. And then I want you guys to bring that right foot, right ankle, and place it just above the left knee. So coming into a figure 4 position, we're going to start to draw that left knee in towards the chest. You can place the hands on the shin or maybe the back of the thigh. And then as we do this, I want you to push the right knee away from you. So pulling the right knee in, push the right knee away, coming into a reclined pigeon. It's really easy to want to let that right knee kind of cave in towards your chest. So try and fight that and keep pushing it away from you. I like to use my elbow. My right elbow is a little bit of leverage to do that. Again, big inhales and exhales, breathing through it. Probably going to feel a lot of opening happening through the right hip, the right glute. Good. On an inhale, slowly release the hands. Send that left leg back out. Keep the right knee bent and send it over to the left. So right arm comes out into a T shape. And we're just going to send that right gaze over the right fingertips. So big opening through the spine, just kind of wringing everything out. Slowly inhale back to center. Send that right leg out. So bringing the left foot up. Again, if you have a strap, now's a great time to use it, or if you don't, you can just start by grabbing the back of the hamstring, maybe the calf, or maybe you can grab the big toe. Right arm can come out into a T or stay by your side. Just check in though with the side. Each side is different. So you might have a little bit more mobility or a little bit less. Just kind of meet your body where it's at. Every inhale, find that length. Every exhale, maybe you find a little bit more space. On an inhale, start to bend at that right knee. Send the left ankle just above the right knee. Again, coming into that figure 4 position. Clasp the hands at the shin just below the right knee, or you can bring it back to the hamstring. So we're pulling that right knee in towards our chest and then sending the left knee away from us. So again, I'm using my left elbow to kind of push that left knee away from my chest as I draw the right knee in. Check in with your breathing. Send that breath directly into those areas of tightness or discomfort. Find your edge, push yourself a little bit. And on an inhale, start to release the hands. Send that right leg back out. Keep the left knee bent. Send it over to the right. Gaze shifts out over the left fingertips. Coming into a twist. And inhale back into center. Drop that left knee, bring the right knee up to meet it. We're going to work our way into a supported bridge. If you have a block, you can go ahead and use it. If not, we're just going to use our hands. I'm going to use my hands. So if you have the block, start to lift up, Ground down through the feet. Lift the hips up towards the ceiling, and you can bring the block directly under your sacrum. For me, I'm just gonna walk my hands underneath. So bringing my elbows directly under me, fingertips are running alongside. And as much as I can, I'm gonna relax my bum and just kind of let my arms and elbows take the weight of my lower body. So you can check in with your feet and your legs here. You want to make sure they're hips distance apart and that the knees aren't splaying out. So you can pretend like there's a block in between your knees and you're trying to keep it in that same spot. So you're not letting go of that invisible block. Inhale, start to ground down through the feet. Lift the hips up off of the hands. Start to untuck the shoulders and slowly bringing yourself back down, one vertebrae at a time. We'll go ahead and heel toe the feet out to the edge of the mat. Just windshield wiper the knees side to side, neutralizing the spine a bit. And today we're going to end our practice on our backs. So bringing your feet into a butterfly position. So soles of the feet come together. Knees are just going to go heavy down towards the ground. If this feels a little bit uncomfortable on the knees, you can always use blankets to stack underneath them for a little bit of support. And then bringing your right hand to your heart, left hand's going to stay on the belly. You can keep the eyes open or you can close them. But I encourage you guys to stay here for maybe the next few minutes. Just kind of enjoy the benefits of your practice of the last 30 or so minutes. And just let your body get really, really heavy. Let your breath relax. You guys can stay in shavasana or that reclined pose as long as you like, as long as you need to. Enjoy it, soak it all in. But practice 30-minute flow is officially ended. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you on the mat next time.